I'd like you to read that and give people your authentic reaction.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm still kind of brewing because I read that right now. Women in the FGC are the ugly girls from high school that never got the attention they desperately wanted. Their crushes didn't want them, the hot chicks talk shit about them, invisible. Now that they're older, they got a bit more attractive, still ugly compared to normal society, and use the FGC to seek attention from awkward dorks in a niche community to fill that empty void from high school. Around 2016, you'd be surprised how many of these e-girls would sleep around with top players for free flights to events. I wouldn't be surprised if that's still happening. Not to mention now, 90% of the e-girls in the FGC want to funnel their OnlyFans or fansleys to these desperate FGC losers. Women in the FGC are either e-girls or trans, not women. Get women out of gaming.
So what do you think about that?
I think I'm going to just go through this a little bit slowly for my...
The floor is yours.
So women in the FGC are the ugly girls from high school that never got the attention they desperately wanted. I would argue that half of the men in the FGC were also only in the FGC at the time that they were because they were the socially awkward ones from high school as well and not considered mainstream attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also say that thank God that there was socially awkward girls that were also seeking a space and found a common hobby to share with other socially awkward people, and it brought them together. And because of those spaces, those men and those girls, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Coexist?
No, they managed to like create relationships. Maybe the first ones they've ever had.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, I met my first boyfriend, because we played fighting games together. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Hell, that's how me and Rico met.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea that they only played because, you know, and it's like a bad or negative thing, it's a good thing that people that were maybe ostracized because they were considered ugly had a space to actually be and to find people that, you know, had a like. I'm so mad that I'm like jumbling my words.
Do you know what I find funny about this guy in particular is
their crushes didn't want them. No, dude, you're just angry because even when you were in that, the people and the girls that were in that with you didn't want you then.
Yeah.
He's probably still burning that even the fucking people he considered the ugly girls from high school still didn't fucking want you. That's the truth.
But I do think it's funny that somebody that looks like him. And this is why I don't go around talking about people's looks, because I'm not God's gift to humanity.
Fuck
and
you.
He certainly
Sorry, I'm like talking directly at that photo like he's there.
Talking about other people's looks when you look like that is quite hilarious. But
I'm sorry, but
you know,
I really do not make it a habit to talk about people's looks because I don't think it's a particularly nice thing to do.
Yeah.
But when you sit there and you speak about other people's looks, you open the door to be torn down yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't get the right to do that.
My stance on this is he's talking about how all of these girls, he's making out there's a lot of OnlyFans girls or fans of these girls in the FGC, which is not true. There are some, but there's not a lot. And my thing is, you know what I've always been like? I've always looked at the grassroots problem. I think the grassroots problem is men. And I think that the reason that they're the problem is because how do OnlyFans girls make money? Through men, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They come through us. Now, I understand there's a lot of lonely men that get preyed on. Now, if we just take his example and run with it, even though it's bullshit, we'll run with it for a second. The way I look at this is that if I've got a bunch of men around me, or if I've got some level of influence, I will try to influence those men to do things to better themselves and eventually walk away from giving OnlyFans girls money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think it's pointless to make a post like this because the women in the FGC are not going anywhere.
Absolutely.
No self-respecting man is going to push girls out collectively of the FGC, so it's kind of a waste of time to post that up. I would look at my boys and be like, guys, let's... And I know people get on to me about this all the time, but you can speak to this because I did it with you. When your life is not going well and things are not going great, what was the one thing I said to you, Ellie? Just wake up in the morning, let's go for a jog. Just go for a jog, clear your mind, it'll make your day better. Let's go lift some weights. Yeah. We did it for like a year, and it made things better. And I always tell people, start with the gym or start with a martial art. It will clear your mind, it will teach you discipline. And I guarantee you the guys on here that are giving their money to OnlyFans girls or funneling their funds away to e-girls or whatever, if you like
are also not funneling it into a gym membership.
Yeah, like use it for something that's constructive and teach them to do it. If this guy has any level of influence, rather than putting up a pointless post like this, which is untrue anyway, why not look at the guys where you're like, oh, you know, for lack of a better word, he finds pathetic, and be like, let me pull you out of the dark. Let's build a little community here together. Let's try to do something. Instead, he's just dragging women through the mud.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think I'm angry because it's always like the women's fault, and like the onus is always on get women out of this space when it's like outside your whole life is not this space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you have to coexist with women
Mm-hmm.
everywhere else in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You don't own gaming. It's wild to think that you could use your opinion and then just be like, I'm going to advocate for women to completely be out of gaming.
Yeah.
And to actually die on that hill is mad to me.
Well,
Because I
even
just think this is such a stupid thing to say.
even this accusation here, around 2016, you'd be surprised how many of these e-girls would sleep around with top players for free flights to events. Where are the receipts? You can't just say something like that without posting some receipts. Otherwise, you've just thrown a statement out there. We could just say you're lying and you can't prove it.
Let's say that was happening.
Mm.
Let's say that was happening. Are the top players complaining about it?
Yeah, maybe.
Do the top players have a fucking problem with it? Are they really angry that they're getting all this, like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're not angry about it. So why are you angry on their behalf? Because you're a fucking salty bitch.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Probably, yeah,
like,
probably.
and maybe I'm being harsh, but it just reeks of that. It's like, you'd be surprised how many of these egos would sleep around with the top players. Like, are you a top player?
Evidently not.
Evidently not, because they're not fucking you.
Is he even if this?
Like,
I mean, I think he's banned from
I
Smash
just
everywhere.
think it's crazy to die on this hill
Mm.
and to be like, all women in the FGC are the ugly girls from high school. Okay, I'm reading it as all women because it's just women.
Yeah, just
Maybe,
women.
yeah.
It's a
but
blanket.
It's, yeah, like this is, and to start it there, for me, is just crazy. Like, I don't know what your main point is.
It's just rage bait.
Do
in
you
my
see what I'm
opinion.
saying? So, and it got me good.
Yeah, it's excellent rage bait. I said it. Let me read to you a
Top
post.
line, baby.
Let me read to you a post from one of his friends and what he said to me, because he's deleted that now. He took it down for obvious reasons.
I'm so sorry.
Quote unavailable. Someone took my quote. Hey, this is his friend, Tope. He goes to me, why is it that every time that anyone has anything to say about women, you are always in the comments saying, what about the man though? So first of all, I talk about loads of things. He's trying to frame it like I'm white knighting for women. At the end of the day, I've got loads of girls in the scene that I get on with. I've got you, I've got Chelsea, I've got other girls in my life. If I see a bunch of loser dudes online saying shit about girls that they can't post receipts for or quantify, I'm going to call them out. I call guys.
respect
How
that.
many times do I call guys out?
Yeah, 100%.
My whole 90% of my channel is dedicated to calling guys out. Who have I got the most beef with? Fate.
Yeah.
Right? You could argue if he's a man or not. We won't get into that. But I argue with dudes all the time. So when I argue on the behalf of women, which some women don't like, as I've shown
Yeah.
you, some girls really don't like it. I don't give a fuck about those
Yeah.
girls. I'm talking for the girls that I care about.
Yeah.
These guys get really bent out of shape about it. Telling men to go to the gym isn't really doing much of anything but putting a band-aid on the problem.
Can
No,
I
it's not.
just, can I just,
Go on.
because this has really annoyed me as well. Like, this idea that the only thing that that's doing is putting a band-aid on the problem. And tell me what the fuck blaming women is doing.
Yeah.
Because it's also the only thing you can't control. The only thing you can control is your own actions and what you do. And if you're like literally expelling all of your time spewing vitriol on the internet about women, you need a better use of your fucking time, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You're not helping anyone.
At all. You're bringing everyone down with you in this
and-
spiral of hatred.
I can speak to this because I've actually done it. Look at Anajan, right? When we started gym, I started taking him gym at 4 or 5 in the morning. Things got much better for him. We started going gym together.
Things got much better for me. Like,
Yeah. Gym does help. So for all the men out there that are telling these guys, oh, gym's a band-aid. No, gym is the foundation.
let's say it is. Let's say it's a band-aid for some people. Because I'm not consistent. I can't lie and say, oh, I'm such a consistent person when I go to I'm not. When I was on a downward trajectory, that really, really helped me. That routine. Do you know what I mean? That
stabilised you,
stability,
innit?
exactly.
Yeah.
The stability and the knowing that I was strong and I was getting stronger.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It made me feel powerful in other areas of my life. Like I could do more in other areas of my life. And sometimes that's just the fucking kick you need to actually fulfill, your goals in other areas of your life. And there is nothing wrong with advocating for other men to do the same, or other women to do the same. This isn't necessarily advice that only men can take, because as you can see, it worked for me.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's picking at straws here. This idea of telling men to go to the gym isn't really doing anything, but telling men to complain at women is doing far less
Doing
than
fuck
that.
all.
That's what I'm saying.
Spoken like a man that's never picked up a dumbbell.
Honestly.
I guarantee you, You wake up at 5 a.m., go to the gym. Oh, yeah, if you have to wake up at 5 a.m., just go to the fucking gym and stabilize yourself. I guarantee you, a lot of these guys, let's face it, a lot of gamers don't go to the gym. They're known for sitting in their rooms, practicing their combos all day and stinking out the place. If you structure their lives so that there's not these big voids, and one of those things that is holding them down is gym, it's not going to save everyone, but it will save more people than whatever bullshit Dalton's doing.
100% agree with that.
He then said the people who are making the porn are far more culpable than the people who consume it. Yeah, but the people that are making it, they're out of your pay grade,
That's
mate.
absolutely not true. That is absolutely not, like, unequivocally fucking false. Like, there is a
I thought he was talking
need.
about like Pornhub.
But what I'm saying is that shit didn't come from nowhere. They weren't just like, you know what I think people might like to see? My wife fucking that guy. Like, no, there was clearly fucking niches that people wanted to see.
Yeah.
This shit sells.
Yeah.
And I think that he's angry at the wrong fucking people. Or that there isn't even anyone to be angry at. This is just so stupid. It's just grown adult people making decisions.
Yeah.
We should be angry at the stuff that is being made without people's consent.
Yeah.
You know, that's the stuff like this is just fucking nothing. This is nothing, burger.
And again, we're talking to men here. I'm not talking about when you go onto the Twitch homepage and there's just a bunch of egos that are doing weird shit because there's kids on the site. That's another argument.
Yeah,
entirely.
agreed.
We're talking about grown men in the FGC that you can actually sit and talk to.
Yeah.
You can't stop the woman and whoever she's making the corn with to do what they're doing, but you can tell one of your boys, don't look at that shit, let's go do something else.
Exactly.
That is that's the facts of the matter. You can scream into the camera for as long as you want about girls in the FGC.
Yeah.
First of all, they're not going anywhere because the people that have power in the scene are not going to kick them out.
It's like telling the alcoholic to pray that alcohol is just one day doesn't exist. Like, that's just not going to happen at all. It will always be around.
These people, I don't even want to say idealistic because this doesn't make any sense. But they're looking at this like utopia of the FGC that they'll never achieve. It's unrealistic. First of all, we want girls in the gaming space. We're not overrun by e-girls and OnlyFans. There's some, and if you guys are, and do you know what the worst thing is? It's usually the ones that are screaming about them, that are paying them. How many times does that come out?
I guess I'm thinking about the addicts. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about the guys that have gone completely off the fucking deep end. Because, like, surely, on average, you know, more men consume corn than don't.
Yeah, probably.
You know, but how many of those men have a problem?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? I think it's not.
I think there's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah,
I can't speak to how widespread it is.
Exactly, but I don't know how widespread that is. It probably is quite widespread, but I'm not of the belief that video games make that addiction worse.
Or they've got the girls in the video game space.
Girls in video games being depicted that way from our earlier topic, but also women in the space making that addiction worse, or I don't know what do you see what I mean? Like bringing their attractiveness into it just really threw me off.
Yeah, Dalton.
I'm not following his train of thought at all. Like,
Dalton's post is nonsense.
Is he saying women out of the FGC because they're gold diggers, or they're like, I don't know, I don't understand.
I think what he's saying is that by society standards, they're too ugly to push their OnlyFans, but by FGC standards, because these guys are what he's framing it as, like losers,
okay, so
they can get away with it.
Farming these men.
Yeah, because they're lower on the tier list, I guess. That's the premise. The gamers are like
the girls that were
ugly
and would sleep around with the top players with free flights to events.
Yeah, because top players
were on a lower tier list.
All of them are, but because the girls know these guys are lower down, we can't really go into like banks and do this to bankers. We can do it to gamers because they ain't shit. That's his point. I'm sure some girls have done it.
I'm just like, what fucking point are you trying to make here, buddy?
No, there's no his point. It falls flat because he can't do it. Anyway, he's an idiot. This guy, and he goes on to say both are bad, but one is far worse. We would say this for drugs or anything else, but for corn, your brain just falls out of your head. It's also easy to get rid of the women making corn because there are far less of them than the people consuming it. So it doesn't even make sense on that front. Okay, well, let's just unpack that for a second. How do you plan on getting rid of these women exactly?
That's why we were talking about the addict. Yes. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You deal with the addict. You don't suddenly be like, oh, alcohol's not going to exist for you, you know, or corn is not going to exist suddenly.
Yeah.
Those places are always going to exist. It's about creating, you know, a type of maybe boundaries within that person, you know, and it's between them and whatever trained professional they choose to deal with that problem with.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, this is just nonsense. And he goes, I said to Dalton that you're farming engagement. And I said to him, to be fair, you're doing a good job of it because you know you don't actually care about this. And then he said, so are you, because this is how you make your money. I don't make any money on Twitter. So you can't shit on Dalton for allegedly doing that while doing the exact same shit. Clearly don't care either because your solution is putting a dumbbell in your brother's hand. Give me a break. Now he can't say that I don't care because I've actually got proof. I've got people around me. I've got my community that can talk to it. That people have messaged me privately. I've given them full plans, full breakdowns on what to do in the gym. When we're on live stream, I tell guys.
To be fair,
yeah,
you gave me a great plan, and that really helped.
People, even people that I've met at work that I barely know, they'll be like, "Oh, what's your gym routine?" I'll tell them. I'll say, "I stick to it. I guarantee it'll make you feel better." There's so many problems in people's lives. I'm not saying gym is gonna fix everything.
Yeah, no, like I think that's the problem. I think people hear that and they're like, "He's trying to say that fucking gym is gonna fix my depression." And it's like, no, dude. But you know what? It can make you hate yourself just a tiny little bit less. And that little bit can make all the fucking difference on a day where you feel like shit. Yeah. So I'm just like, don't shit on it before you try it. Because clearly this is not helping you because you're still a salty bitch.
Aside from this whole, like, pick the men up sort of thing, this narrative they're building around girls is bullshit. Because when I go to events, girls are working the cameras. They're there helping the stream set up. They're there helping the organizing.
It's almost like they're fucking people. Man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Even like I had Mimi, Mrs. Play Stuff, and Jinmei on here, and we were just sitting here talking. And I've had loads of guys on here talking about their experiences in the FGC. And do you know what the girls got as comments back from the guys? This looks like you're hosting a therapy session, Mike. Even though it was the same stuff that the guys were talking about.
I feel like I have a certain I came into this with a certain level of anger, right? Because I'm just like, I have a problem with these type of blanket statements, that don't help anyone. They really do speak for themselves. Like I wanted to be like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was like, put the cart before the horse type of thing, But no, I can't have the patience to be like, no, let's have a real conversation.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to have a real conversation.
They've made their mind up.
Absolutely. This is literally just placating and hoping that people that already believe this go on to share the message the way that they've brought it to their attention.
Yeah.
Like, wow, what a beautifully thought out point. Like, what a gotcha. Yeah, women in the FGC are the ugly girls from high school. They do.
It's very ironic to say they're the ugly girls from high school. That's something that needs to say to the boys that I was with. Like, oh, you gamers, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Fucking
That's why I was like, it always made me laugh because I'm just like, well, good thing that there were girls looking your way then, because obviously I'm not yours specifically, but people in the FGC around the time when we were growing up. Yeah. Because that's how we built those first connections, those first crushes and first loves, because there was, thank God, actually people with the opposite sex or same sex that were into the same things. Yeah.
Now, these guys are like trying to change the world kind of guys, which, let's be honest, guys, you play fighting games, you're not changing the world. But what you can do is you can help people around you. And I don't think you are. I don't think that helps anyone. You might have gotten some clicks from this. I'm sure you got some follows from it. That's great. But ultimately, you didn't really do anything there. I think that a better use of your time is to help people like that are close to you. And then they're going to be close to other people and they can help them. If in your mind, the OnlyFans girls thing is a major problem, then that is the solution to help people around you. He can even run with that delusion. And if it's helping other people with his delusion, I'll be like, oh, whatever. He's not hurting them. And he's helping these people.
Can I ask, like, what is... This is my problem, that it's not about helping these men. This is what is annoying me. That, like, you're going on like, oh, this is really going to help men, when it's actually just an attack on women.
Well, his post.
Not just his post, but the very idea of, like, getting women out of gaming. And I'm even trying to remember the... Can we just quickly get up his other tweet? Is that the same guy?
No, it's his friend.
His friend. Sorry, I'm getting them confused. I'm viewing them as one people.
They basically are.
No, I think that's why. Because he responded to you, right? Off of the back of this, or?
Yeah, so I responded to him and then his friend responded to me.
Yeah, that's why I thought, okay.
Twitter can get confusing sometimes.
Yeah, I fucking hate Twitter, sorry.
It is a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Threads and threads and threads.
But yeah, you're not doing this because it really helps men. Like getting, let's say for a fucking example, right? I'm really sorry because this stuff makes me mad and I have no patience for it whatsoever. You take the gentle approach and I appreciate that, because obviously I think men do need that. They need somebody else that actually has the patience to have that conversation, but I don't have that. This, to me, if we say that you get what you want and women no longer have OnlyFans, right? Let's say OnlyFans is gone.
Yeah.
There's a whole porn industry that predates OnlyFans that was built upon the needs of these men, right? To the point that it was so successful that they didn't even need you to pay for the corn. They could give it to you for free. And now the reality is they're not angry. People like this are not angry that OnlyFans exists and now men are just, giving their money, to corn. They're angry that they're giving their money directly to the women. That is the issue.
Yeah.
They're not lining the pockets of the corn industry and it's not freely available. They're angry that women are now monetizing their sexuality or what they've never been able to monetize previously. And that's why this pisses me off.
So you don't think he cares about the corn industry? He cares about the women making money.
100%. And you can tell because the whole thing is spewing absolute madnesses. Women in the FGC are the ugly girls from high school. I'm sorry, sir. You sound sad. And you sound as angry as I do at you.
I see your point completely. So my opinion on OnlyFans. I think it's a net negative for society.
Yeah.
But I don't think OnlyFans girls are polluting the FGC.
Yeah, I think the thing is, I agree with you. But I don't blame the girls doing that.
Yeah.
I blame, the current state that we just have got ourselves in.
The state of
social
of
state
porn
of
is it's a deep mess and it's way too far to dive into now. It goes way back.
I think
obviously.
it's just because it's bleeding into our culture, our social, the way that we interact with each other. It's so freely available everywhere. It's so hard to control.
Yeah,
it's out of control.
It is out of control. It's out of control. I guess the whole corn industry discussion, that's a wider discussion, but the way he's framed it with the girls in the scene, I just think it's a load of bullshit.
It's just not fair. Yeah. To paint, all the women in the FGC like this. This is ridiculous, and I found it quite sad.
It's a pathetic take.
Yeah.
As someone that is always around girls in the FGC, or when I go to events and see them there, they're just doing their jobs. Doing their jobs.
I mean, actually, to be fair, that's one thing that I didn't say. That half the time the girls in the FGC don't want the fucking attention at all. Leave them the fuck alone, right? That's the broad message a lot of the time. I'm sorry because I'm such a potty mouth.
Do you know what the problem is?
The hell out of this video.
These guys live on Twitter, so they'll see the girls on Twitter posting themselves up like, "Oh, look at me," and they'll think, "Oh, this is all girls." But there's so many girls that are they're radio silent. They'll even tell me, "Mike, I'm not coming on camera. Don't want anyone to see my face."
And that's the majority. And I think this is why this is so not a fair take.
Yeah. It's a disconnected take. It's a take of somebody that exists on Twitter and Twitter alone.
Absolutely agree.
Because if I show you my Discord messages where I've said to girls have said, "Oh, I want to speak on your podcast, but I don't want to show my face."
Yeah.
Loads of them, and I'm like, that's fine, no problem. You ain't got to show your face. But most of them do not want, and they've got anime profile pictures, or they'll have their game. It will only be gameplay on their YouTube channel. You'll never see their face. You won't hear their name. That's majority of the girls that I end up speaking to when I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing this thing. Does anybody want to jump on?" They'll message me and say, "Hey, I want to jump on, but I don't want my face out there." Some girls, and even the girls that I had on, one of them was like, "Should I have my camera on?" I was like, "Yeah, turn it on. It's fine." But majority of people don't want it.
Yeah.
So this is BS.
Absolutely.
This is someone that lives online.
I agree.
Anyway, he deleted it because he probably realized it was stupid. People calling him an incel,
It is very incelly. I'm sorry. It is very incelly take.
And I don't like throwing that word around, but if that doesn't scream incel, I don't know what does.
Anyway, guys, I'm sorry for my passion. But that one really got under my skin, and it took me a little while to process everything. And usually, then this is actually why I don't like to do live fucking takes.
You've never been live on the channel before.
Yeah, I know, and I think that's why I have. But it's just one of those things where it's all of the ones where you're just like, I want to see you. I want to know what you're going to react to this.
No, I mean, have you ever been on a live stream?
Oh no, I've never been live. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just gonna go live one day and put you here.
No.
Just leave you there to talk.
No. It would be the most awkward thing.
You'd just be saying like, Mike. But yeah, in closing, this was an L take. The people that agreed with him, L's disconnected from reality. I'd say go outside, touch grass, talk to some
apologies
girls.
for my language. Please I would certainly say that, Mike, next time, just give me a heads up,
This is what you could do.
Let me take in the info. Let me get my thoughts together.
No, I got a better idea.
And that way it won't be a slew of F-bombs.
No. F-bomb all you want. Do it in Spanish.
Oh my God.
Just every time you want to start slurring, just start throw Spanish out there, and it'll be even more aggressive. They'll be like, hey, we didn't sign up for this.
Listen, man, I don't know. Would we traverse?
We might get a whole new audience.
Okay.
We might get a whole new audience.
Ven aquí. Ven aquí.